All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Demon Slayer, Season 2, Episode 11. Big bada boom.
Mm-hmm. It was very, very scary. And now, Tengen is not in a good way here. This could be it for him.
His flashy end.
Mm-hmm. And we had our boys pull off the
last episode exists.
Yeah. Last episode blew our collective socks off.
Exactly.
And now we have to see the aftermath. We have to wind things down a bit. We have to get our boys some medical attention. Hopefully one of the wives has like the dopest like sew things together technique.
Because I get the feeling Tengen might be in about 47 pieces right now.
Yeah, and then my heart will need some sewing technique done on it as well, because I'm not ready to say goodbye to this JoJo motherfucker, you know?
Nope. But also, Tanjiro's been poisoned, so there's that too, you know? That feels so small in comparison to everything else, but, it's still a problem.
Yeah, this is bad. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. This was a fantastic finale. We got extra footage. We got like a full feature anime episode in that regard. We also got way more context than usual than we get for post demon death kind of understanding of their characters, because there's two of them,
right?
But also from the standpoint of Gyutaro, we kind of met him way later in the season,
exactly,
than we met Ume,
right?
Not Daki.
And in the middle of when everything was nuts to butts, balls to the walls action and things like that. So there wasn't a lot of time to go into that. It would have felt awkward. It would have broken up the pace. I'm glad they didn't.
Yep.
They saved it for here. Good stuff.
Yeah, in the moment where Tanjiro has his empathic connection with them, not just because, they're people.
Right.
And this is something that obviously Demon Slayer is known for, but it's very cool to see it happen again, because one, I felt like for a while now actually we've moved a little bit away from that kind of side of things a bit, and I liked that we brought up the fact that we're harvesting demon blood, because remember that's the main reason why we're doing this. And it's just not really brought up a lot, so that's its own thing there. But then okay, we're going to have a really beautiful artistic expression of giving the sudden backstory of the antagonists. And it's not something that's for anyone other really than us. This isn't something that is, mechanically in universe given for a specific reason other than, maybe in their final moments, these two have their whole life flash before their eyes.
Sure.
They're realizing, oh my God, do I have any regrets? Oh my God, what was all this? Did this end up being worthwhile? Did we live a worthwhile life? And it's like, oh shit, no, I regret that I ended up dragging you down with me. And then of course in that moment, he then chastises her and makes her feel like she dragged him down with her. And it's like, oh, that's beautiful.
Right.
That's just good, simple theming of the main character's struggle. And
the fact that we got them fighting basically before the actual backstory. I love, because one, it feels a lot more linear with the passage of time and things.
For sure.
And that's all that Tanjiro and Nezuko get to see.
Yep.
And that's enough. They don't need to know their whole backstory or whatever. They understand that there's two siblings that were like this, and then they're fighting at the very end. And it's like, no, you don't want it to be like that. Now, there was a little part of me that Tanjiro kept his hand over Gyutaro's mouth until his sister was entirely gone. I was expecting that after, Gyutaro seemed to understand, Tanjiro would take his hand off and then he'd be able to say something to his sister before she died. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Is that whole thing of where you're like, oh, this is sweet. And then you're like, wait, you cold motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
You made it so those were his last words to his sister.
Exactly. You interrupted him from saying any more. Good job. But maybe, in future situations, if you ever have something like this, take the hand off a bit sooner, buddy.
But yeah, they ended up having a bit of final words that were just for them.
Yep.
And I really like that this was just for them because ultimately demons in this world are something that are ancient old beings. There's going to be aspects of them that we will come to understand more and more as the story continues. But having this space here where, because of probably their bond, forged by being demons that have a literal physical connection to each other, not just by being siblings, but also by the way that they were transformed or what have you. This is a really beautiful way to show that the bonds that are forged by relationship, love, and family can go beyond even death.
Right.
And then they get to think about we'll be reborn in the next life or what have you, but we'll always be brothers and sisters, but we'll also always be together.
Right.
We'll always be there for each other. It's a really beautiful thing because while this story does seem to be like in that kind of classic kind of dark fantasy style of getting darker and darker the more the story continues.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like the things are getting heavier, more intense, and what have you. Yep. The stuff that Tanjiro and Nezuko are headed into is probably going to be worse and worse. It's going to test their connection, and
we already had that in this arc. With Nezuko getting driven to the point where, even with that whole hypnosis thing and everything, she was real close to snacking on Tanjiro.
And this could end up being something that splits them up. Like one of them could die by the end of this series, and the idea that if that's to happen, will this have all been worth it? Will this have all been something that was,
right?
That was,
and we know that the answer is a resounding yes. But they're not going to die. It's going to be fine,
because in some ways they have the benefit of they weren't both turned into demons. There's a lot more agency that Tanjiro has as a person to be able to protect Nezuko because he's not a demon. But even still, you don't get to have that really sweet in some ways relationship that even these demons had by being able to talk to each other.
Sure.
You don't really know what's going on within Nezuko. There's probably a lot of insecurities and fears and plights and stuff that she's dealing with because she's a demon that she can't share with you.
Right. It's something where I think the bond between the two of them is set up to be very, very strong to the point that you can kind of get by without having them actually have that conversation.
Even though we would very much wish that.
Right. And it's a decision that the show is making to maybe not have that. But I do totally wish that we could see that. That feels like something that would just be so juicy and full of character and enrichment. If this is all just build up to eventually
having one of those moments where Nezuko is not necessarily going to be interacting with him, even though she has done that a couple times through in dreams and imagination and stuff like that. Having something like that, whereas she becomes more and more adept as a demon, there are no demons that we've seen thus far that are incapable of speech. So
right. Well, and I find it kind of fun that in this season we saw her shatter the muzzle and then also put it, well, we didn't see her put it back on, but there was no one else up when she went to Tanjiro and she has the muzzle back on. So she did that on her own, right? She made the decision of, okay, just in case I know that I'm, there's a possibility that I could have a freak out like before and don't want that. So
I don't like thinking too hard about some of the little details in Demon Slayer in regards to that. It's just good fun in this regard, It's like
she does make adorable Nezuko noises.
But Nezuko noises became Nezuko heals the entire party with random I touch you demon fire blood art stuff, and it burns the poison away specifically.
Okay.
Cool.
That's a fun limitation, so that way it's this isn't going to happen again unless it's with the master of the demon slayers, but we don't
it's probably going to happen exactly with that.
Right. But she can't bring back Tengen's lost the eye and hand, right? That's not something she can do. Introducing healing into a battle shonen is some
Hey, but again, it's not physical, regeneration. It's not introducing the demon's blood regeneration into the Hashira's ranks or what have you.
And as far as a reasoning of how she would figure out to do it, if you've got the blood stuff flying around everywhere, I feel like that's you have an example of the thing that you're destroying, and then you use your powers to figure out how to make it destroy specifically that thing. Okay, cool. You know.
Yeah, and we're also really leaning quite heavily into this fire, flame, sun kind of theming with regards to Tanjiro's family in that regard. So Nezuko's demon abilities potentially having some tie-in to something that came from before her, even being a demon, is interesting. But again, we have to wait and see how they're going to tie in the difference between abilities for the sake of like actual mechanics or visual spectacle.
Also, and this might not be like intended, but I feel like if you're going to have a demon power develop a way to counteract a specific thing, poison is one that makes kind of the most sense because it's something that goes into the blood, and they're demon blood arts. So like if like like that feels like it's
a great soft magic system kind
exactly.
of equivalent thing, and also poison is not generally that interesting story wise, I would say, to have, because it takes a lot of choice away from the characters other than how do they react while they're in the midst of being poisoned. Right. Which created some cool scenes that were completely undermined emotionally because we revealed that she could heal the poison stuff. So
and why did she only show up now? Sure, but the person that had the poison was also killed, so we don't have to worry about the poison coming back later and being trivialized, other than with her healing the master. I mean,
I think other people could have some kind of a poison or something like that. But yes, it was a thing where thankfully the Tengen stuff was played for comedy because they're like, wait, my tongue is numb because of the poison.
And them bickering when he's like trying to give his last words, that like, sent me. That's so perfect because like a lot of the times the antics in anime with people being loud and fighting and bickering and all that stuff,
loud
it's like
equals funny.
Loud equals funny, and it's like no, not necessarily. It's not, and especially when it's like, wait, read the room, what's going on right now, and a lot of the times that doesn't necessarily happen. Well, here it doesn't happen, and that's the joke, Right. And these are his wives. He's very familiar with these people, right? And they still do this when he's dying right in front of them. And it's just like, I literally have no hope.
That's what happens when you have three wives, It's just like they're all really into each other, of course, but there's still that little bit of rivalry of like, who's best wife?
Yep,
who's best waifu,
Right,
like,
and I can imagine that he probably tried to help smooth things out between them many, many times, put a lot of work into it, and it's just it will be the way it will be. There's a limit to what I can do.
But this is, of course, then reminder that Hinatsuru is best wife, in that regard, because she doesn't get roped into this bullshit. So
right,
yeah,
she's sensible.
She's very sensible.
Yep.
Yeah. She also was the one with the overwhelming fire shotgun blast
kunai thing. Right, so she's the one who helped in the fight. Yeah. So I think it's pretty obvious. Like if you look at the stonks value of all of them, they're all decent. They're all quite decent and everything.
But one is clearly
definitively
the best.
Yeah.
We were not introduced, but we saw again Iguro Obanai. Sorry, I'm going to mispronounce that, but we took good notes on the hashira in general.
Right, Snake Boy.
And Snake Boy was very much like, yo, Edwin.
Right.
You can't give up on me now. And it was just this funny thing of like, oh, he's basically saying, how long until you're going to be back into the swing of things?
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm retiring. And he's like, no, you're. But
we already lost one hashira. We don't have a replacement. You're saying we've lost the second?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
That's not something we can just do here. I very much am for the idea, though, of them bringing someone like Tanjiro into the hashira and having this be a thing of where it's like, oh, Sanemi guy, have him bitch about it a lot because he's going to be like, well, Nezuko gets to be a part of our inner meetings by being proxy on the boxes on his back while he's sitting in the tatami mat that he's in the place like, with the master and the...
You're not good enough yet to truly replace one of them, and then Tanjiro maybe is, the new kid on the block and all that.
Right, and it's the thing of like, no one's saying he's good enough.
Right.
He's saying he's the best we've got right now because something happened that allowed him to be, strong enough to survive this whole madness here.
Right.
But not only that, his two boys with him, they're not pushovers anymore.
Nope. Yeah,
Like we're just
they
casually
were,
just walking past the fact that Zenitsu was asleep the whole
everything
time.
that he did. Yeah.
And there were no issues at all.
Yeah, forget like constant breathing state or whatever, constant sleep state, Zenitsu. Like, back the fuck up, literally everyone else. Like, and Inosuke, he was like the shit that he pulled this season. Oh yeah. The sawing, the dislocating his whole body to worm his way through a tunnel, like moving his heart and staving off the poison for that long and everything. It's like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
We need our little animal barbarian running around defying all laws of physical boundaries and physics and what have you. And it's like, yes. Okay. And they could have a thing. This would actually be really cool. I would actually very much appreciate this for them to look at the idea of the hashira and be like, why the fuck are we doing the thing where we have to have one of them be a hashira and then you can't have like a squad? Because in some ways Tengen was that already, but we very clearly pointed out the fact that his wives and him are shinobi. Thus, in a lot of ways, they would never operate as a team, really. Because if you did, then it would be like, we only do that if we're like guaranteed 100% to have the mission set up in such a way where we will go to drop in, assassinate the target, and we're out.
And even there, I think there's that clever exception of like, okay, they're not technically demon slayers, so it's like, sure,
of course. Right. So they wouldn't work together. But what if it's then a thing of like, okay, instead of having
the three of them combined are a hashira.
Right, exactly. We're gonna have the three of you take the seat of one hashira. Tanjiro, you're the leader.
Right.
So you're going to be the one sitting
keep
on the
them
meetings.
In line, yeah.
So you got to keep them in line.
So for the others, it's the, you are on this council, but we do not promote you to the rank of hashira.
And then you have Inosuke being like, what?
Yeah, and then Zenitsu's just like, just sleeping through the whole thing.
Zenitsu's just like, I sleep. I don't care.
Yep, exactly.
But then, Inosuke actually gets all, boorish.
The bit of Tengen with his three wives and them just holding each other and crying was really sweet. And then cutting to the three boys and Nezuko hugging each other and crying. That was really adorable. That was awesome.
But yeah, all right, that's another arc complete.
Definitely the most intense fighting we've seen by far.
By far. It did everything that I've wanted a battle shonen in the modern era to do, which is to have team-based fights.
Yeah, and there were so many different ways in which there was team-based stuff happening simultaneously that also influenced each other.
I know you guys have probably been watching our channel for a decent amount of time, but for those of you that haven't, Jacob and I have been waiting for an action battle shonen of sorts that would finally give us a satisfying team on team fight.
Right.
Because typically in anime, because of the
Breaks
complexities of having that many characters on screen at once doing crazy animated fights and stuff, you actually end up doing a lot of just talking at each other and not actually animating it when there's multiples. And then when they go into animating it, it's like one person on screen at a time doing their technique, and then they cut to another person doing their technique, and it's the technical limitations have held back the potential for coolness, and now it's like Demon Slayer's like, yeah, fuck that, we're just gonna go all out. We'll have Inosuke and Zenitsu 2-on-1 against Ume,
right?
And then we have Tengen, Tanjiro against Gyutaro
with the occasional Hinatsuru,
or the occasional tentacle stuff coming in from the
I know these shows probably get compared a lot, and I'm not trying to do any qualitative measuring against or whatever, but my other favorite example of not one-on-one fighting in Battle Shonen would be Jujutsu Kaisen with a certain 2-on-1 fight in the end of the season that was absolutely fantastic, right? And that was just a 2-on-1. Right. Yeah. This was like a 2-on-1 and a 2-on-1, but sometimes 2-on-1 was a 3-on-1, and then sometimes the
4-on-2.
Right, and then the opponents from the different things would help each other, and it tracked. I felt like it made sense. They're kind of near to each other, and as they changed how close in proximity they were to each other, they would be able to influence things more. It was just like this. And on top of that, it was visually gorgeous. This was so awesome.
So awesome. But yeah, that's season 2. We're going to be picking up Kaguya season 3. We're going to be doing all the content associated with it. So y'all, if you want to see the first bit of, I believe there was some bonus seasonal promotional stuff.
Right.
First, that's going to be the first reaction after this. So go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon if you want to get early access to that and full-length timer versions of the Demon Slayer stuff. And any level of support there gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
Next time.